Hello and welcome. My name's Super Saiyan and this is your weekly news and pre-order video covering all of the new releases from Forge World and Games Workshop. A huge welcome to all of you new subscribers and regular viewers of the channel. Thank you for subscribing, and I do have an Instagram which is just super_Saiyan, and I do post all of the new releases, pictures of finished models, things like that. So that's another way you can find out some news and interact with me. Furthermore, I have a Patreon if you wanted to support the channel financially for as little as like $1 a month. That helps me get the new releases for armies that I wouldn't normally buy models for. But if you can't support it that way, you can always buy your models from Element Games at 25% off. And they ship worldwide. If you just use the affiliate link in the description box, then that will tell Element Games that I've told you about them, and then that helps the channel further. And a lot of you have done that, so thank you so much for those of you that just click the link and follow it through and then make your purchase. It doesn't obviously cost any more money doing it that way, it just helps the channel out. And I really appreciate it when you guys do that. So let's go over to the community website. There's actually been quite a lot of news over the past week. All kinds of things been announced. In a way, sometimes some of the weeks I want to make a news video like midweek just to go through some of the things that they've announced. But if we go back from, say, a week ago, we just go back to the 26th of October. There was a little look at the pre-orders. I went through the Questoris Knights, the Aeronautica, and all of these Feast of Bones box set. Really cool set. As always, the day after on the Sunday, there's a preview for the next week's pre-orders, which are up today, and we'll go through them bit by bit. Some beautiful looking models, including Orpheon Catacross himself. I'd love to get that model. It's just so creative and fantastic looking. And these models are pretty decent too. I mean, look at this. You know, why can't we get something like that for Necrons? You know, hopefully that will happen. And look at this amazing Arch Cavalos Santos. And then the standard Ossiarch Bonereapers. Yeah, stunning army. I can see why they're sold out. A lot of the models. You've also got these. You've got the Immortis Guard and the Necropolis Stalkers. We'll go through all of these. And then you've got a Gothizar Harvester that looks like it shoots souls or skulls out of its mouth. Fantastic. And then this Mortek Crawler. Look at this with all of its legs. Look, incredible. Such creativity. The scenery pieces are pretty decent too. Look at that. And accessories, they've got a painting handle in red, because clearly it will make you paint faster. And then you've got a bundle of paint handle sets. And then you've got this, which I always wondered why Games Workshop never made one of these. I use a tray, like a supermarket tray that you put food on. I use one of those and cover it with newspaper. But you've actually got one of these things now that Games Workshop have made that holds the models in place while you spray them. It just looks like it's held by like elastic bands, black elastic bands. So I don't know how much they're gonna hold up against the spray, because the spray it does make rubber and things go a bit funny. But hey, I hope it'll be alright. I'd love to get one to review for you. And then you've also got one of these, if, like me, you've ever, or like lots of people, knocked over a big pot of shade like Agrax or it's normally non-oil, isn't it? You've got these and they just hold them in there, so that's quite good. And then an Apocrypha for White Dwarf and Dark Millennium playing cards. We'll go through these on the web store in a moment. So that was the big look at the pre-orders for this weekend. You've got Big Brothers Episode 4 Master of Stealth. You've got Mind of Mengel, Mortek Guard 1, Psychic Awakening, A Test of Faith. So another little lore article to read. I think it focuses on sort of Drakari. Ossiarch Bonereapers 3 themed armies. This is a nice article. you know, who you have at the front of your army, and all the different support units. They're really pushing those Mortek crawlers in that one, aren't they? Battle Sister Bulletin, this was amazing. I really like the cherubs anyway. These like robot baby type things that carry munitions and scrolls and whatever. I mean, yeah, it's pretty sort of messed up, you know. I mean, having like little robotic flying things that look like babies. I mean, with wings as well. They don't fly on the wings. They've got anti-grav motors and stuff, and they whir about. That was very, very creepy with this skull. Oh, it's got a big key on there, and I don't know. And then you've got some munitions and Promethean fluid. Just like these are the freaky ones. These ones, which are like, they look like people in terms of like, it's just a fat, bald bloke, but in baby form, with like some prosthetics and stuff. It's just, just weird. It's just, anyway. I still like where they're going with it. It's very grim dark. You know, they could do the skin a bit darker, maybe not so like fresh and new. But yeah, that's the painting, isn't it? At the moment, it's very sort of colourful in terms of like, I don't want to say cartoony, but very like bright. I want to say you've got a rumour engine for October the 29th. You've got Aeronautica Imperialis forming your own squadron. You've got the tactics from a pro. Choosing a commander. Such a stunning army. I'd love to get the Bonereapers. I really would. Ogre, more tribes, recipes for destruction. Halloween Black Library style. Gifts for good grots. Now this is a very good article. I'd suggest you check it out because it outlines all of these boxes and bundles. Personally, I think they're very, very lackluster. I think they're the weakest year we've ever had in terms of box sets. They should just phone me up and say, hey, Super, what should we put in these box sets? Because, you know, I'm sure I could do a good job with all my experience. But what they've done is they've put intercessors, a box of intercessors, Sanguinary Guard, a Terminator, for some reason, Terminator Captain, I think, Death Guard Chaplain, and Death Guard Jump Pack Marines, and a Bile Predator. 23 miniatures. I think these will be, what, 100 something, 120 maybe? Definitely over 100, I'd say. You got the Space Wolves one here. Me and Mathscat, I booked her in to go through all of these, by the way. And give you a rundown on how much you save. So that video will be coming soon as I get confirmation of the prices of these. Space Wolf box set doesn't look like it's got a lot in there. The Chaos Space Marine set, I saw it and I thought, yeah, that's the best one out of all of them, for me anyway. And I thought, yeah, I'll most likely get that. You get the Havocs, you get a Rhino, which is a very old kit now, over 20 years old. I've just recently reviewed that, by the way. You get one squad of 10 and one squad of 5 Terminators and the really old Terminator Lord. You are getting 3 of the new sets here, the Terminators, the Havocs and the Chaos Space Marine set. You can buy them individually, you know, so unless you really, really need that, another box of Terminators, which will look exactly the same. That kit, you know, the armour and things, looks exactly the same. The weapons slightly different, but unless you really want another box of those, I say they are boring looking Terminators compared to like the Death Guard ones, you know, then go for it. But you're getting a really old Commander and a really old Rhino, and I just wish that they put maybe a Lord Discordant in there, or a Venom Crawler, or a new HQ. You know, maybe the Executioner, or just something new rather than the 3 new sets. The Havoc set is good, but you only get one of those chain cannons, which is poor. And again, they're going to look the same as well. But out of these units, I am more of a fan of the standard Chaos Space Marine set and the Havocs over the Terminators, the Rhino and the Lord. But if that helps in any way, that's just my experience of it. Then there was the Drukhari set. That looks all right. It looks like you're getting a fair bit though. Quite a few vehicles there, quite a few troops, and the Talos and an HQ. That's well rounded. The Tyranid one is absolutely awesome, mainly because of the Carnifex brood you get in there. Then you get the Hive Tyrant, you get Gargoyles, Termagants, Hormagaunts, and some Gene Stealers. But you know, the Hormagaunts, Termagants, and the Gene Stealers are old kits. The Carnifexes are good, but they are pricey. If you get the brood for £55, I think they are. Hive Tyrant's showing its age, and so the Gargoyles. I would have rather some bigger beasts in there, but there we go. The Tau Empire one looks all right. Get a nice big tank in there and some suits. And then what they've done is they've split the monopose. They are monopose. You can only build them in these poses. They split the Shadowspear box set into two. So this is really quite strange to have like a... They've gone for a 3-tier release schedule, I want to say, for these, because you can't get the Obliterators separate, you can't get the Venom Crawler separate, or the Possessed, the Greater Possessed. So what they've done is they've put them in the Shadowspear box set, which came out 6 months ago or so half a year ago. So 6 months later, they've then released another set, which has, you know, them split, but we still don't have them separate, which is really quite poor. And I hope it's not a sign of things to come in the future, in that they keep some of these awesome looking models back from individual release. But if you didn't get Shadowspear, or you wanted to get it but you didn't have the funds and then it sold out, because it did disappear after like a month or two, then now is your chance, because you can get those Chaos Space Marines, which if you got, you know, all of the other Chaos Space Marine releases, I'd strongly suggest you get that. I think the set's going to be 55 or 60 quid though. Then you get the Vanguard Space Marines. Again, I'm not sure whether that's worth it. It sucks that you can't get the suppressors separate, but they are monopose anyway, and two of those are exactly the same pose. So hopefully we get them separate, or at least we get an individual suppressor kit. That would be great, because we've already got the separate Infiltrator kit, and the Eliminator kit. The Eliminator kit is alright, the Infiltrator kit is very good, but it doesn't have the techs, the Helix Adept. So it might be worth getting that set for the Helix Adept, but the other models are a bit lackluster compared to their, you know, main kits. The Age of Sigmar kits, I'm not that familiar, but I think the Stormcast Eternal one is pretty good from what I've read online. The Nighthaunt looks amazing. I mean, I'd love to start an army with that, with Nagash and all kinds of things. 46 miniatures, fair amount. And then the Skaven one looks awesome too. And then the Gloomspike Gits. I'd love some Gloomspike Gits, I really would. And the scenery is pretty awesome. But there you go. I just have them with my orcs, I suppose. But you don't get many miniatures, but you do get those big Squigoths. And then you've got all the painting handles, and you've got some novella series, and then you've got the little of the Christmas gobbo. That'd be quite fun to get, actually. Okay, so that was the big article in the news past week. Happy Halloween. You've got a painting tutorial from Peachy, Sentinels of a Land Raider, Volunteers, and then Warhammer World Titans, Aircraft and More. So a look at some Warhammer World events coming up next year. So February, you've got a grand tournament, you've got Throne of Skulls in February, another one in February, another Blood Bowl in February, and then Wings of Destruction in February. So basically all the events coming up in February. And then an Adeptus Titanicus event as well in February. So there you go, that's all the news. So a fair few articles there over the past week. Like I said, I'll be going through the breakdown of all those box sets individually. Let's jump on over to Forge World now and have a look at the pre-orders. I looked at this yesterday at 9 o'clock and there wasn't any. I looked at it this morning and there's this Ultramarines Contemptor Dreadnought which just popped out of nowhere. So I don't think it was available, and now it's available. It's definitely new. So if we click on pre-orders, you've got the Games Workshop pre-orders, which I already went through. I'll go through them on Games Workshop's web store. But you've got this Ultramarines Legion Contemptor Dreadnought, £38, so same price as all the other Dreadnoughts, with the weapons costing £11 each. So that will cost you £60 to get a full Contemptor Dreadnought. I know the plastic one is, what, £35? So you're paying £25 more. In my opinion, totally worth £25 more because it's completely posable. You know, if you just want a Contemptor for Contemptor's sake, then yeah, get the plastic one. But you won't regret getting a resin one because you can just pose it in so many different positions. You can magnetise the weapons, and the weapons are awesome as well. And the amount of detail too. So if you haven't already jumped aboard the Contemptor Dreadnought train, I suggest you do. And this one looks pretty decent. It's resplendent in Ultramarines iconography and heraldry. So if you haven't got Contemptor for your Ultramarines, finally you can get one from Forge World. And that's the only pre-order from Forge World this week. Hopefully next week we've got an abundance of them. Although they do ramp it up over the next month or so in terms of pre-orders. So we'll see some new stuff. Then we're on to Games Workshop's web store. So you've got a big push of, well, the paint handles there, the Apocrypha, the Ossiarch Bonereapers, and more Ossiarch Bonereapers. So that's the big push this week. If we click on your exclusive and we go on pre-orders, there's a lot. I've had a little preview this morning earlier on, and there's 78 pre-orders. Now, a few of these were up last week, but let's just have a look at them now. So you've got this week's Ossiarch Bonereapers pre-orders. I don't think you got the big main guy there. You do have the main big guy, right? Okay, yeah, he's right there, but he looks small for some reason. But £330 will net you all of them. Crikey. The Endless Boneyard collection, you've got the Feast of Bones and the 2 books. That's no longer available, mainly because of the collector's edition like battle tomes. The Mortec Shield Corps, £160 there for this bad boy, and this will net you 1 Bone Shaper, 1 Soul Mason, 1 Soul Reaper, and 60 Mortec Guard for the £160. But then you're pretty much sorted. Mortec Ballistari, £152, 50 for some guard, and the crawlers, and a Bone Shaper as well. That's the Bone Shaper, such a lovely model, very creative. No longer available the Tithe of Bones because of the, again, collector's edition book. Cavalos Lance for £100, that looks beefy. And then these guys, the Catacrosian Deathglaive for £96. The Bonereapers Essentials, I think that was up last week. The Advent Calendar for Black Library, £90. I didn't think it would be £90. I would expect some chocolate in there as well, but it's £90 for 25 large-scale prints. They're A3 in size, so yeah, what, half of A4 basically. I was expecting them A3 in size, so that's quite large. You know, that is larger than A4. Yeah, I know it goes the opposite way around, but still massive art prints. I thought they'd only be like A5 or something, but no, they're A3. Big art prints. You get 25 of them, individually sleeved art prints as well. It would be nice to see like all of them, all 25, but I suppose it kind of spoils it for you as well. But this thing is big, so I can see why it's £90, and it's limited to 1,364 copies. Good idea. I'd also like another calendar with models in. If they can do that for 25 models, it's going to cost more than £90, so let's face it. That'd be similar to like the Lego calendar, wouldn't it? Anyway, the Hungarian Hordes collection, that's sold out as well. The Mortison Trident, so you've got all these individual characters, individual units for Ossiarch Bonereapers. So this is £85, and you've got the Bone Shaper, the Soul Mason, the Soul Reaper, and then the Harvester as well. Stunning models, really like them. You got the Dominion of Sigmar, Penumbral Stormvault, £75, and then Catacross Mortarch of the Necropolis, sorry, £65. Stunning model. Really like it. It would be cool if you could take these models off individually, and have them as individual units, but they all go on this massive base. Looks fantastic. The box looks brilliant. I mean, this is really the centerpiece of your Ossiarch army. It's the Nagash equivalent. It's just absolutely fantastic. I'm enamored by it. It's just beautiful. Really like it. And I thought it'd be more. I thought it'd be like £80, but £65. I think that's quite decent. The Dominion of Sigmar Hallowed Storm Thrones for £60. That's quite pricey, I think, for that. Must be quite big though. And then the Mortec Crawler, I think that's quite pricey too, £50. I would have thought that would be alright for 40, but yeah, it's odd that some things I think are a bit too expensive. You got it in different poses though. Look, you can have it firing and then in a ready position. You've got different options there. £170mm base. It must be bigger than I think though for this £50, but that's up for pre-order this weekend. Last weekend we had a load of Lord of the Rings stuff. This Mortec Guard, that's new for this week. £35 there for 20 of them. That's pretty decent actually. You get 20 of these ones. They look awesome. You've got the Cavalos Death Riders, £35 for 5. I love these ravens or whatever they are. I want to know if you can put them in any poses though. You can definitely change his spear to a sword. I just saw that. Look, from there to there, look, he's got a sword. So yeah, 5 for the £35, and then you've got the Liege Cavalos, which is only £5 cheaper, but it is for the Liege. I'd love one of these armies, I really would, guys. I would love to give you some unboxings and reviews of these models. I just think the paintwork is absolutely stunning. Both Tide Nexus, that was last week. You've got the Arch Cavalos Xantos. I'm wondering if it's the same box set. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, you can make a Xantos or the Liege. I like them both. Probably say Xantos is my favourite because of this ghoul thing here. But that's pretty damn awesome too. If I had my way, I'd get them both. I really would. The Heavy Bombers were last week. You got the Harvester, £30. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of this. I'm not that sure. It's quite big. I think it's very top heavy. It's got something going on the back as well. If we just do a 360. Yeah, oh, that's what it's got. Okay, interesting. Yeah, okay then. So it's got loads of dead bodies and stuff and bones that have yet been bleached. And it's even got this little dude here picking them up. I guess it picks them up and yeah. You've got like a raven thing too. And like the tail on the back looks like a hand, so maybe it picks them up and puts them in the back. Quite grotesque. I want to use that word for this one. That's a different sort of face, I want to say. And it's got some blades on. So you've got a few options there. So that's £30, that's alright. And then you've got the Necropolis Stalkers, £30 for 3. That's about right, £10 for each of these. You can have them as something different. They look alright, but I prefer these. The new naked Tyrannid warriors. No, I don't know. So yeah, £30 for those. I think they look awesome. And the Immortis Guard are just the same as the Stalkers in the same set. The Black Library paperback novella series 2, £30. The paint handles, you get £25 for 5 of them. So yeah, £5 each. The Battle Tomes were last week. So was the Questoris Knights. NSB Spells was last week. But then Apocrypha was this week, £20 for that. What is it? Well, you can witness the cover of every White Dwarf ever printed. That's what it is. So, and you've got some comic pieces in there. Looks pretty decent actually for £20. Hardback too. Doesn't say how many pages it is though. It's just revived the last 42 years of White Dwarf. Oh, wow, White Dwarf's been going for 42 years. Crazy. Then you've got the individual characters for the Ossiarchs. The Mortis and Soul Mason for £20. It's only a single pose miniature. No other options on there. That's the Soul Mason. You've got the Soul Reaper. That would work well with your Nagash army. It's incredible. £17.50. It's alright. The Bone Shaper, fantastic model. I'm pleased that that's £17.50 too. I love this half big skull on there. And then you've got some transfer sheets. I think they were up for last week. Castle of Blood, hardback for £12.99. Some War Scrolls, that was last week. This is the spray stick, some rubber bands, £12. Okay, that's fair enough. And you've got the Dark Millennium playing cards. I think they were out last year. I think I've got them, £10. I think the upgrade sprue for the Questoris Knights was up last week as well. You can get a coffee cup, reusable one, Horus Heresy one for £8. I'm pretty sure that that'll be available at the main HQ if you're popping down there at some point. The red paint handle £6.50, so I think it's £1.50 more than the normal one. I think they all might be £5. Paint pot holders, £5 for one of those, and then you've got some paperback novels for £3 each. It's quite cheap actually, but they are little novellas. And that is it. That's all of the pre-orders for Forge World and Games Workshop. Just one in terms of the Contemptor Dreadnought for the Ultramarines from Forge World, but an absolute slurry of pre-orders from Games Workshop today. So many, way more than the past few weeks that we've had, with drips and drabs of Primaris and other bit and like the Blood of the Phoenix, things like that. I'm wondering if next week, we're going to find out tomorrow whether next weekend we can pre-order Sisters of Battle. We should be able to pre-order Sisters of Battle next weekend, because then that means that we'll get them on the 16th. But bearing in mind, the pre-order for Sisters of Battle is probably going to be the Codex, and it's probably going to be the big, the box set and things. I don't think it's going to be the full release. I think we have to wait until next year for the full release. But there are going to be Sisters of Battle things coming up. So hopefully you'll join me next weekend, where I'll be ecstatic and be able to go through all the pre-orders for them. What do you guys think of this week's pre-orders and the Ossiarch Bonereapers? I think they're absolutely stunning. I think they're a great addition to the force. I'd love to collect them. Please do put your thoughts and opinions down below as always. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.